Hello, guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today, since we've had another month pass, we have another Dev Diary for Prehistoric Kingdom. Everyone's favorite accurate dinosaur park builder, which I'm quite excited to get stuck into this one. This one's quite eventful. So this is the Dev Diary for March 2026. This is kind of we're coming up to some of the last updates before we leave early access. So some really interesting stuff is going to be coming in these parts today. So we're going to get started today with some other cool stuff. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming. So welcome to the March Development Diary. Today we'll be talking about the status of Update 17 and providing insight into the current progress of combat. So that'll be really cool to see. I know everyone's liking combat, especially your Battle Royale players. We've also got a couple surprises in store, so let's get into it. So, state of development, in case you missed it, we put out a support patch for Update 16 on the public testing branch, and this release aims to rebalance diseases across the board and make elderly animals much more likely to pass away. There's also new vivarium animations, and amphibious support for Titanoboa. So Titanoboa can actually be put in a amphibious one now, so it's really cool. It looks so awesome in there. And the ability to change a vivarium's watercolor into something more tannin rich. So yeah, these are different versions there. You can see that small tannin, looks like it's straight out of a little, like a swamp or something like that. And it's that clear water, so more options there. So in April though, we will be releasing an early version of Update 17 to the public testing branch. While this will not feature combat, players will be able to access the management overhaul, updated Scrubland biome, and both species of Stegosaurus. Where the Stegos implementation will be quite limited, but it'll have basic animations and ontogeny included. So here's a growth time lapse of the Stegosaurus. So let's start that again. Let's hit that. That's so impressive going from a little gremlin to a beautiful Stegosaurus. So I have to say that's very impressive. Do love to see Stegosaurus. Anyway, so here's the big burning questions. We got update 17. This is for combat. You guys, I know a lot of you gang beaver would want to do like battle royales or something like that. I know everyone's been asking for combat, so let's get stuck into what they've got for us today. So, since handling most of the new management features in February, we spent the last few weeks focusing on combat, experimenting with different ideas, and refining our vision. Currently, we're able to make the T-Rex fight with basic attacks and use a new movement mode that allows them to strafe or walk away or walk slowly during a battle. Since the combat encounters are dynamic, things like backing off and circling around each other can occur naturally as animals exhaust themselves. So yeah, it's a very dynamic process. That's what we love to see. The current progress is already very promising, but we're not ready to show extensive footage just yet. Things continue to change every day, and we prefer to give it a deeper look when more parts have been more polished and added, especially when it comes to movement and hit reactions. With that said, though, there's certainly some really cool things to talk about. So, as I mentioned, it's something that's very much a work in progress, so I don't want to reel too much, but you can see this is a pretty cool, even mock. Looks like two Tyrannosaurs, especially since we know they were pretty famous for face biting each other. I think that's really cool that we managed to have some, fighting together and fighting for dominance or plethora of other things, not just, for the sake of killing each other. First official screenshots of animals fighting on their own, so that's really cool. Alright, so the way combat works is that animals have a core set of attacks that they can perform contextually. So depending on different things, in the situation. Depending on the species, they typically involve a bite, a tail swipe, or headbutt that gets layered on top of locomotion if the aggressor gets too close. This makes sure that almost every animal has a way to fight back in some capacity when moving around. So it's not just, not like JWE kind of circling around each other and fighting. So it's more dynamic than that. Something a little bit more similar to JPOG, probably. If there's enough space between an animal and their target, however, they can do a bluff charge or perform a lunge attack to launch themselves forward. For example, a T-Rex will leap and chomp, a raptor will kick its claws, and a Stegosaurus will throw its tail towards the target. To show off how this works with locomotion, we've actually recorded some test footage triggering the animations manually, so it won't be quite so stilted because obviously they're making the animal do the animation, but things will look a lot more cohesive when they're actually fighting dynamically. So this is for Velociraptor. So doing a bite there, then a lunge. There you go. Nom. So it's not going to look like this. The animations are fine, but they, as I mentioned, they're being manually triggered. So they will eventually it'll look a little bit more naturalistic when it's actually animals running around and moving. So very starting to see how this is going to play out, because even though Prehistoric Kingdom's obviously an animal game for like zookeeping and stuff, like really you shouldn't be seeing much of this in your zoos if you're playing it properly. But I know a lot of people love to play for combat. Like one of the big things for JWE is combat and seeing animals hunting each other and stuff like that. So it's a cool thing that they're adding into the game, and I think they're going to do a good job with it. Looks very promising so far. I love that lunge, so naturalistic. All right, next up. Here's we've talked about the Velociraptor. Here's Stegosaurus. So he's bluffing charge. He's swigging his arms around. Oh, yeah, that would be a pretty nasty hit. So that's his bluff charge, pretty much. I think that creates, like, even if they don't necessarily hit, it'd be a really cool like display. Like they come up to each other and it's like square up. So I think that's quite cool. So have a look. Exactly how an animal responds to aggression comes down to their combat profile. So these databases are where we create the rules, like being aggressive towards mating or during mating season, or chase threats away from your nest. And these various conditions and filters allow us to build a cohesive set of scenarios where we might want animals to behave in a particular way. So, for each of these conditions, we choose a likelihood for certain reactions, i.e. 10% chance of run away, or 30% chance to attack, and this makes sure that encounters are varied while staying true to the core identity of an animal or family group. We've been using these combat profiles to power threat displays since update 15, and we'll continue to expand them as we take them to the next step. Take the next step in Prehistoric Kingdom's animal behavior. So here's kind of a little bit of a hadrosaur aggression. So adult, none, adult, unless it's cutting that particular animal, male, female, angry, feeding, mating season, nesting, enraged, I think this rejects suitor, hungry and starving. So these are different situations where they could potentially be quite aggressive. And then obviously you've got, male, female, adult with family, adolescent, adult, infant, nesting. So there's kind of some different ways and different scenarios. So maybe you could say like a Montosaurus is quite a protective mother and will guard the nest, while something like, Pachycephalosaurs maybe not quite so guard the nest, but they're very defensive of the hatchlings or something like that. So there's a bit of variety and stuff like that. I think that's quite cool. And make every animal a little bit different, because even animals that are closely related today, they used to have wildly different strategies sometimes. So like lions, and lions or tigers, they're social, and they're raised as part in the pride, and then you have tigers which raise them by themselves. So there's a lot of variation there, and I think it'd be cool to have them for different species. A little bit of variation. Some might be more grumpy than others, some are a bit more kicked back. I think that's a really cool system. So, speaking of, you can actually bring up the animal debug menu or press Shift B to see what the animals are trying to do. In case of combat encounters, it's cool to take a peek behind the curtain and see what they're choosing to prioritize. So here's one here. So a target is Robert. So this is Robert and this is Manuki. Lunge attack, bite, circle target, bluff charge, flee, and threaten. So these are different things likely. So he's doing a bite and a lunge attack and a bite. So that's quite cool. I think it's very cool. So that's combat kind of out of the way. Very interesting to see how combat's going to come along. I'm very excited to see how like hunting, but also things like threat displays. I really want to see like a Triceratops, potentially jousting. I'd love to see Brontosmash, sauropods, squaring up with each other and hitting each other with their necks and pushing and shoving each other. I think this is more expensive than just animals hunting or fighting for dominance. I think there's a lot of really fun ways this can be implemented into the game. Um, so yeah, I'm sure the dev team will realize that. So that's very cool. Really excited to see combat because I'm not typically one of those people that's, oh my god, I want to see animals fight to the death. I want to see them like fight each other in natural ways, and because most of the time animals they don't want to kill each other if they can help it. They don't want to risk it because squaring up with a T-Rex that could equally as likely to kill you back is not a good idea. But having like playful like threat displays or playing, or fighting for mates, or potentially fighting over territory, I think it's really cool things that we could have in the game here. So really cool. Anyway, let's carry on. So Scrubland foliage. So the Scrubland foliage revealed last month has made its way into the game. With 46 new plant assets coming to Update 17, there is a huge variety of landscapes that players will be able to make. There are just too many options to pick a favourite, so here are 3 screenshots to show off the Scrubland's biome improved variety and versatility. And we can't wait to see what you come up with. So this one's really cool. This makes me think of Walking with Beasts, and that that Smilodon looks so cute there. Really, really cute. So here's some Dryasauras hanging around. I really like that. Beautiful. And then we've got lavender and some Paraceratherium there. Looks really, really awesome. They've done a great job. And the next one is water update. So let's have a look at this. So we're pleased to reveal that the terrain water overhaul has come early. So it's not coming in update 18, it's coming to 19. So in update 17, the public testing branch, the players will be able to paint up to 6 types of water that all benefit from massive rendering improvements. So you've got all these different ones. So this is like a natural, this is more like a river, a little bit clearer. Lagoon, saltwater, swell, I love that, a little bit more cloudy, like a cloudy lagoon version. And there's trophic, lots of algae, and then there's muddy one. That looks really, really cool. So, water improvements, we've been asking for these forever. So, some of the more notable improvements include water casuistics, modular piece visibility, and new underwater rendering that makes watching animals like Spinosaurus feel much more immersive. And in the future, we'd love to have dynamic panel effects for splashing and swimming, so that's going to be really cool. It'll be interesting to see what will happen in the future. So here's Spinosaurus swimming in the water, and then you look in the water, boom. Now that's amazing. That's incredible. That's really cool, isn't it? I want to watch it again, but you can see Sila under the water. That literally just looks just about realistic. Like, that's amazing water quality. And then the spiner comes up. That's amazing. That's really cool. All right, I think we've seen that. But you can see, look at that. You can see that looks pretty much just like a realistic reflection. That's amazing. I think that's definitely a highlight for me, the water. On top of this, we've also made a couple improvements to the water brush that should make it more stable than before. You'll actually be able to replace a body of water by selecting a new type and clicking the desired area. So it's a lot easier to try out different aesthetics. So you can see, different one there. And then that's a lagoon one. Made muddy. Swell. So look, pretty easy. That's pretty cool. I have to say that is very cool. And with all these new water types, the teams had so much fun creating new wetlands, rivers, and even faux oceans. So yeah, teasing. I hope we get lagoons and stuff. We get the marine and aerial animals. That'll be so cool. But it's so cool. Nice little river one here. Looks amazing. There's like a Carodontosaurus, little baby one over there. Looks amazing. Another picture there. See, look, that literally looks like you just took a picture. That's so cool. I've never seen rendering like that in the game. I think it's very impressive, considering a lot of other games that they struggle to nail it like that. But yes, we're going to finish off with a new genus now. So we've got a new species here, or new genus in Prehistoric Kingdom, which, considering what it is, makes sense because it's combat. But to close out this dev diary, let's reveal the last genus coming to Update 17. This thick-headed lizard is none other than Pachycephalosaurus, a herbivorous dinosaur from the Hell Creek Formation. Their bony domes allow these species to engage in unique ramming behavior, fighting off threats or competitive males during the breeding season. So, a perfect addition for combat. So this is Pachycephalosaurus wyomingensis. So that's one of the species here. So you can see the male there has got, blue body with quite a bright dome. The female's brown with a kind of slightly less orangish yellow its dome. But yeah, very, very cool to see this guy. And this dinosaur will also be joined by its alternate species, Pachycephalosaurus spinifer, which was previously known as Stygimoloch to many guests. P. spinifer has more extreme cranial horns and an extra rugose head, so it's more gnarly version. And please look forward to the reveal of once our scientists complete its genome. So that's going to be quite cool. Probably get one next time for the April Dev Diary. But anyway, let's carry on. Community Spotlight. This is by Boy. Oh, those are so cute. I love that. This looks like Torosaurus. Well, probably Triceratops, but I like that. Triceratops and Ankylosaurus. That looks so good. Very cute. This one is based off the concept for the Allosaurus. That looks quite nice. Very interesting. I like the style of that. By W3. And then we've got here, looks like done by Just Goji. This is one of the designs for the Diagtodon, who looks absolutely adorable. So yeah. So Patreon, thank you for reading. So I gotta say, I'm really excited for this combat. I think this combat's going to be so interesting, not just for, animals fighting to the death, but, animal displays and jousting for mates and fighting for territory. I think that's definitely a system that adds a lot of dynamism to the animals, especially when you have enclosures with different animals or different animal species together. I could definitely see some very interesting interspecies reactions with that. Scrubland foliage, of course, looks always really, really good. And the water update is going to be so amazing. I really hope Prehistoric Kingdom, you get to make lagoons or have aquatics and aerials in the future. I really, really hope that becomes a thing in the game, because I think that would just make the game next level. Game's already next level, but that would push it so much farther above. But yeah, really, really cool. And Pachycephalosaurus is always a great design. Prehistoric Kingdom hardly ever misses. It never really misses. So yeah, I think this is a great place to end the video. So thank you for reading March's Dev Diary. We hope you enjoyed this look at Update 17's development and look forward to seeing more combat. There's a lot more work to be done before it's properly presentable, but we're excited to see what we've seen, and we continue to make steady progress in April. So yeah, I think this is a great place to end the video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like and subscribe, always make a little bell icon to get notified about anything. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.